when a man sings a love letter to Transit, you know that something is up. So, ladies and gentlemen, CJ Santa is going to explain why on earth he loves Transit. Let's get into it. The hype, man. The time. The legends. Oh, my goodness. Let's see it, man. Come on.
So you want to know?
I want to know, man. Why do you love this map?
Love it so much.
Yeah, what is it?
Adore it. Why it never gets old.
Bro, why?
To do that?
It's Transit.
I need to take you back.
Take me back, man. To 2012.
It was the
12 years ago.
Entire game's worth of build-up.
It
In
was.
The beginning, this was Richtofen's grand scheme.
Yeah, what
Moon's
a guy.
Easter egg and ending was like nothing we'd seen before. The whole zombie story was always...
It's still the best ending in COD Zombies. I'm going to say it. I love Origins. BO3's Revelations was kind of weak. It's still so goated, man.
Hidden in the
The
background,
Earth blows
shrouded
up.
in mystery. But
I
now
know.
we finally learned the truth. From the radios and the Easter egg itself. How everything began and how we got to this moment.
Yeah.
We never even knew this was possible. The zombies had turned
This
a different
footage,
eye
bro.
color, as well as Richtofen turning on us, the players. And now, the supposed villain out to get us was one of us.
Do y'all remember the achievement that you would get for doing the Moon Easter egg back on the Xbox 360 on BO1? Oh my gosh. Like, you would get a whole 2 gamer pictures for doing this Easter egg. Like, I'm gonna be honest, those awards, especially back in the day, they don't even do stuff like that now. And they were doing this all the way back in 2010.
The twists and turns left many shocked and surprised.
Oh, it
how
was
much
so
happening
wild.
this last
We've
map
never
of
seen
BO1.
anything like this.
But
Yeah.
little did we know the final gotcha. The last thing
no.
we would do would create a second in time we would remember forever. The moment
I guarantee you when they blew up the Earth, they're like, dog, what are we about to do? Like, what even happens? I was like, bro, are we going to play on planets? Like, I thought we were getting Infinite Warfare back in 2010. I'm not even going to lie, dog. I thought we would be playing on Jupiter by now, bro.
when all these smaller outbreaks
Wow.
around the world with self-contained little stories would go global.
Yeah,
When the rockets hit the planet
there it is,
and
man.
destroyed the Earth.
Like, you would never expect that the next map would be on the Earth. You just blew it up. Like, what's left? You know what I mean? It's insane that they did that. But, bro, this achievement, oh,
This image
Beautiful.
right here is iconic.
it is.
This ending
Oh,
to
yeah.
this day still
Yeah.
packs a punch like no other.
I think most people know what this is. If you were to just show the moon, they would know it's from Black Ops 1. That's how iconic BO1 was. Like, BO1 was the most iconic COD game, I think, ever. So much of the imagery and the cinematography from the campaign and the multiplayer. Oh, my goodness.
The shock of going
God
through
tier.
everything we've done, from a lowly little bunker in Germany to blowing up the world from a moon base.
In 2 games at this point.
At this moment,
That's
we
so
had
insane.
no idea what would happen.
Yeah.
What would come next? The
Yeah.
world was destroyed. Richtofen was in control of the zombies, and Samantha was now...
If you thought we were going back to the Earth for a zombies map, you're lying, man. There's no way. I think they always had it planned because they were working on Transit probably even while Moon was being developed, but
his body helping
insane.
us.
yeah. Yeah.
The time in between games was a tense one.
Oh, and a long one, bro.
All throughout Modern Warfare
MW3,
3, when zombies
survival.
was put off for a year, it
Yeah.
was a time of anticipation.
It was not it.
Would there
I'm
be
gonna be
another
honest.
zombies mode? With how big it had gotten by the
Keynoter
end, where would things
935.
go? The wait for Black Ops 2 Zombies info was
That name.
excruciating. But eventually, we'd hear snippets of teasers to come.
Oh, I know,
The
man.
trailers for the
The
campaign-
BO2 teasers were so goated, man. Listen, okay, Black Ops 6 is coming out. Please have something like BO2. Bro, the teasers for BO2 are still to this day in my bones, man.
Campaign would soon
They're in
drop
my
along
bones.
with this.
Ah, I know this image,
image
bro.
was
Yes.
revealed, which was a pre-order bonus.
It's so, dude, the amount of people that got so horned up for this image. Dog, it was so bad. The internet was such a foul place back then, dog. It was horrendous. My 14-year-old eyes were not ready for what people were saying about this image, bro.
Which I still have, by the way.
That's
This image
crazy.
alone said so much.
It is such a cool
Once it was
teaser.
out, it
Yeah.
was gone now.
What is she holding, though? Is that just a random grenade? That never appears in Black Ops 2. Also looks kind of like she's holding like a Blundergat too, man. They cooked on BO2, man. They cooked.
Zombies was coming back, and it was going to be crazy.
Yeah.
Who was this badass chick holding the severed zombie's head along with
it's a zombie head. I didn't even see. But there's a stone that she's holding too, right? Okay, now, granted, if you look at the BO3 image, it's a guy holding a card. They initially wanted the Gobblegum system to be cards, but they never went through with that. So it makes me wonder what this was going to be, man. You know?
Is this Samantha?
Yeah,
Perhaps
it's
she'd
true.
swap bodies with someone else. As that was a thing that could happen now, we didn't know.
Yeah, we didn't know.
Anything was possible. The hype for this game.
That's that fan service, though. You know they did this for a reason.
Games
Man.
revealed
2012
was
was
like nothing we'd
wild.
experienced before in our lives. Waiting for the next DLC in BO1 to drop was one thing,
man.
but this
Yeah.
was like that times 10.
It was a huge deal. It was the whole world was talking about Black Ops 2
And
at this point.
finally, after
Then the
what
trailer
felt like
happened.
forever,
Yeah.
it came.
I know, dude. I will never forget the moment. I was 14 years old in the computer lab in my high school, and I whipped out this trailer, me and the boys in the back. And we were like, what the heck is this, man? They got a bus and zombies? I'll never forget that moment as long as I live, man. That was one of the wildest moments ever, man. The scream, yes. My gosh, like, this was zombies.
Our mind.
It was insane.
I
Yeah.
thought that because the world was blown up, there couldn't be zombies.
That's what I thought.
Absolutely not.
That's what I
This
thought.
was a new era. The era of the post-apocalypse.
Of the broken earth.
Zombies were taking over the whole world.
Yeah.
The trailer for Transit to this day
It was
is one
iconic.
of the best trailers we've ever had.
I fully agree. Also, it is one of the most viewed zombie trailers ever, next to Shadows of Evil. This and Shadows of Evil.
Seeing this absolutely wrecked world with survivors traveling across this devastating hellscape,
Yeah.
fighting zombies in all these locations,
Yeah.
our minds ran wild. This wasn't just going to be a map. This was a journey.
Yes.
Would it be a campaign for zombies?
That's such a great way of putting it. It was a journey. It's literally what they were showing. And we were so confused. Like, was this just a zombies map? Was the whole thing? They teased it perfectly, though. It was both the singular maps and the whole thing was a zombies map. They went in, man.
Would there be a progression system?
Yeah.
Multiple maps? Zombies had never been this large scale before.
Yeah.
Seeing so many undead in such gigantic environments with vehicles and dynamic ways for the dead to come at you, this is what we were waiting for.
This was probably one of the most peak times in the zombies community. Like, sure, Black Ops 3 was its own thing, but bro, this was just peak for the whole world at this point. Like, COD was at the very top with BO2, and then this dropped. It was over, man. It was over.
Nothing better than watching this trailer, hearing Carry On by Avenged
Oh, I
Sevenfold,
know.
and becoming so excited.
It was
You
goated.
just had to play this.
Yeah, yeah.
I vividly remember what it was like on the midnight release at GameStop.
Oh, man,
The
don't
line
get
was
me
all the way down the street
started.
to the sidewalk.
No.
It was over 100
Dude.
people for sure.
Yes, I remember, dude, midnight releases for these OG games back in the day. It was down the mall. People were freaking waiting for these maps, bro. Or for these
And
games
the
to
most
drop.
exciting thing was as I got closer to the front of the line.
And it's always
towards the door of
cold
the
AF
store,
outside.
Some guys had gotten their copy and just couldn't wait. So they hooked up a monitor on a generator in the back of their pickup so they could play zombies right.
Dude, that is insane. Dude, you don't see that level of commitment nowadays.
As they grabbed
That's
the disc.
crazy.
I remember it like it was a dream. Looking over at that big TV on the back of that truck and seeing a glimpse of someone opening a glass door and walking up to the box. I
Dude,
had
wow.
to look away. I couldn't spoil it
had
for
to look
myself.
away.
I didn't even want to know what guns were in the box, but that made me even more.
Oh, dude, like this is the funniest thing, right? I remember when Transit came out, and I was with my friends. I was like, guys, this looks so bad. Like we came from the moon onto this, and then I played it, and all my friends played it, and then they were like, oh my gosh, we're done with zombies, and that was it. Transit's where my friend group just ended. They have not played anything after that. They heard about BO3, but they never played a lot of it, and so it's just crazy because Transit, while yes, the hype was at its peak for a lot of the mainstream audience, it also, I feel like, killed off a lot of the community. Even also myself, if Mob of the Dead didn't release on BO2, this channel, me on YouTube, wouldn't have happened at all.
eager to go
crazy.
home and finally
Crazy.
play Black Ops 2 Zombies.
Yeah, it's so crazy thinking about it, man. Oh, the atmosphere just put a gray image. It's the gray, foggy image, dog. Yo. Yeah.
Loading up the menu for Black Ops 2 Zombies itself was the perfect mood setter. While Black Ops 1's was
Listen, I love BO1's main menu. I still think it's the best in gaming, but the BO2 Zombies Glow main menu is so iconic that I even want to implement it into a game mode that I'm developing. Like, they cooked with
subtle
that,
psychological disturbance. This was a grand apocalyptic nightmare.
It really
Seeing
was.
the debris from the Earth scattered and rotating all over the screen due to the aftermath of Moon's Easter egg.
It just
really
mattered.
showed the impact of that ending.
Exactly. Like, the whole ending created a whole game.
That's
such a great way of putting it,
the
man.
Tone, along with the fantastic new rendition of Damned.
Yep.
Selecting the map, the destroyed planet would spin around, showing off the destruction fully. When you look at this menu and selected a location, you already had expectations of what this world would look and feel like.
I just would love a zombies game where it's all on the zombies globe. Like every zombies map is on that globe, not just the BO2 maps. I still think just the way that this map layout is portrayed is probably the best in all of COD Zombies. Hands down better than BO3. Hands down. No lie about that.
Time to load into the next Zombies experience, the sequel to Moon, and the next step of the game mode's journey.
And then that's that. That's where you lost 90% of people. Nah, it's not that many, but a lot of people left.
Right away, a familiar yet off-putting tune played over what once looked like a happy greeting card.
I have to say, this melody is so iconic that even 21 Savage has a song over the Black Ops 2 type music. There's so many rappers that have even taken this instrumental and made rap beats out of it. Like, in 2020s, this decade, man. That's how iconic this is.
But surrounded by what could only be described as destruction.
Yes.
The contrast of such an upbeat tune to what we were seeing was soon interrupted by distortion, static, and the screech of something.
It was special, man.
Else.
It was special. Oh my goodness. I miss loading screens as well. I'm not a big fan of like the Cold War movement ones. Like, I still think there's something so iconic about this. Like, just make one banger image, you know? Like, this is so much just in one little image, you know? That's what loading screens are for. Just pack it in with stuff, man. You know? My goodness. Iconic.
Already, we were more hyped than we could bear, and as the screen fades to black and the ambience begins, a noise that would stick with us forever.
Yeah, the fact that I know it. It's so iconic, bro.
The one thing that Transit has that overshadows all previous maps up to this point is the sheer amount of atmosphere.
And you know what? BO2, at least initially, definitely stuck with the scary vibe, right? Like, for a lot of kids, I can't even imagine. This was their first experience on COD Zombies, right? And this probably scared the frick out of them, especially with the denizens, man. My goodness.
Every single area has such an unsettling feeling and vibe to it.
It's true.
Like no other map.
Yeah.
There has always been ambience, but never like this.
Never like Transit.
Crackling of the lava.
Yeah. It's that silent ambience too, like that. Like, there's just nothing left.
Hum of the tunnel.
Oh, I know, man. It just feels so empty. Like, they nailed that. I will say they did nail that. And Treyarch, I always give the props to the sound team. Goated forever, bro. Goated forever. They don't miss. They don't miss. Like,
isolated feeling of the diner.
I know, man. Just hearing the wind. Oh, nah, that's not it, man.
The dark, unsettling nature of farm.
Oh, that is, I'm in it, man. I'm in it.
The downright liminal space feeling of the power station.
I know, man. And, like, also, like, how it's such a contrast to the map, and you get in, you're like, oh, my eyes, like, oh, you know, like,
the uneasy feeling of the cabin in the woods.
Oh, I know, the gurgling of the lava. Yeah, and the way I remember, dude, the best thing about Transit was the myths that came from it. No zombies map had myths like Transit, bro. Like, what did that guy in the cabin do with his axe? Did he cut his hand off? What happened, bro? Like, that is what's missing in zombies. And I definitely think the internet definitely has a major reason with that, to do with that, but
And the emptiness of town.
I know, but they killed it though. Even though the experience sucks and even though most people like town, the ambience of desolation they nailed.
For
My
a map this
gosh.
large and with so
Yeah.
many locations, they all feel so distinct from each other so well, and all
Yeah.
invoke some kind of emotion different from the previous. Exploring the map for the first time, the only sense of safety and security in this destroyed world is the one thing besides you that moves and talks: Ted and the bus.
And this is the thing, like Ted literally looks so deformed, right? Like his arms are almost all off. The skin on his face has been literally clawed off, right? Like how disgusting. The windows on the bus are all busted out like some supersonic EMP wave just blew through it, right? Like you're coming into this at the point where nobody is left, man. They nailed that. Like, look at him. Bro's got the switches on his back. Look like he just came out of surgery with that thing on, dog.
With
My
his quirky but
goodness.
sometimes off-putting quotes, he's the only thing on the map that keeps you from feeling the incredible sense of isolation.
Yeah. Which is so sad, because look, what is more scary in this image right here? The zombie or Ted, bro? I'm gonna say it's Ted,
Transit has,
man.
without a doubt, one of the best aesthetics of any zombies map. It's
Yeah.
so unique in the most end-of-the-world kind of way.
I just wish they had a way where you could get rid of the fog, right? Like, if they just spent a little bit more time into the gameplay mechanics of this map, oh my gosh, it would have been incredible. Like a stamina permaperk, or a way to remove the fog, or an original day and night cycle that they had thought of, or a jet gun upgrade. Those four things could have just, oh my goodness, changed the map forever.
There's so much to each location that once you travel to them all, you can't help but notice.
Yeah.
The corner around the side of the bus stop where the bus drives in from.
I know, yeah, where it's like so offbeat.
Building always seemed so close you could
know.
imagine what was in there.
The Shrek hut.
Unsettling horror that your mind comes up with as you look into the hallways in the tunnel.
Yeah.
Open doors and dark paths that go out of view.
This Treyarch has always nailed what is inside a zombie barrier. I don't know if you've noticed that, but like just the story you can see and tell from just looking through a barrier has always fascinated me on this game.
Showing just how deep this thing goes.
Yeah,
And what isn't seen can sometimes be more scary than what you do.
exactly.
The dead, grassy area behind the diner where the zombies come out of, giving the feeling of how far some of the undead must have traveled to get to you.
Yeah, it's
It's here when
disgusting.
you start to notice that some of the zombies are wearing hospital gowns.
The way they move too, and even just these images, like this is freaky, man.
Or perhaps clothing worn by escaped mental patients.
Exactly.
Whichever is the case, it shows that no matter where they came from, it's most likely far worse than anything you're seeing here.
Yep.
Farm has the darkest feeling to it. Not just
Yeah.
because of the lighting, but the nature of the location. It gives vibes of the slasher films of old, and the ambient noises give a lot of tension to this place.
Especially the farm area, man. That farm area is spooky. And it's like, I wish they would have brought more of this vibe to Die Rise. We're trying to give Die Rise that, like, darker elements. Die Rise just literally felt like a test map for them. Oh, let's just throw them in a bunch of skyscrapers, you know? But it's like, it doesn't fit the ambience that Transit set up for sure.
Staring off into the silos and cornfield, just outside of the playable space,
I know.
leads to hearing the howling of what could sound like wolves. The fear of the unknown is the most powerful thing here,
Yeah.
and that endless field certainly provides that.
Oh,
secret
man. The cornfield, too. Especially when you didn't know the pathways and you're like, where do I go? Where do I go? Oh, man.
Location
They
of the
nailed
locked
that.
building hidden in the cornfield has one of the most unique atmospheric effects.
See, and Noct actually worked on this map because it fit the ambience pre-set up by the existing map. It's so true.
Just the stillness
I
of this
know.
place,
Yeah.
with the light shining through the cracks of the building, coupled with the lack of barriers for the zombies to tear down, the blocking of any other paths to escape, it feels like a dead end.
It's giving me like Twilight Princess vibes from Zelda, where like you know a familiar place like Nocturne Totem, right? But you come back at it when it's like completely overgrown and destroyed. And like obviously it doesn't make sense at all in the timeline or just in the place of Transit for a Nocturne Totem to be there. But it fits. Like ambience is everything with zombies, right? It is so true. Like this is proving that point.
Like a place stuck in time,
Yeah.
never to be awakened. And the tall, broken
Exactly.
freeway outside of the map shows the large, bustling world that once was, but is now gone. The power station is
killed
the
it, man.
first location that gives the feeling of something more sinister going on here. With this secret underground station, with blinding light so contrasting to the rest of the map, and a being of unknown origins that makes what could only be confused with human-like sounds.
Also, that image of the Avogadro is actually in the files we were looking at, the pre-alpha images for Transit. They took a lot of inspiration from like Independence Day, literally, with this power room, which I find so fascinating. They made that one scene into like a room in this map. That's just so cool. And they've done that also with like Stanley Kubrick films in Moon as well, where a lot of the Moon orange walls are from his films. And so I just think that is just so cool. Like the level of referencing and dedication to creating these masterpieces was just next level, man. And the Avogadro, man.
Once you turn on the power and this entity disappears, you know you've made a mistake.
Oh, yes, sir.
Lightning and thunder can be seen and heard all throughout the map. Now
Yeah.
a literal looming threat for you. The cabin in the fog isn't a place of safety. It's more dangerous than any other place, not just from the vulnerability from
Just
the
the
zombies,
story it
but from
tells.
the nature of the place itself.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
screams brutality.
Oh, yeah.
Whoever was here before wasn't pleasant.
Oh, and they went through it. Or they just went through it. They were a nice guy, but had to go through it.
Reflections of skulls that of the undead, or perhaps there was a serial killer who lived here before the world ended.
Yeah.
Or even more disturbing a thought, perhaps someone who hunted down other survivors in this apocalyptic nightmare.
It gives me like Outlast vibes, which is amazing because it's like this came out pre-Outlast, and it's like it's insane because zombies also could have evolved more in that spooky, scary direction, kind of like what we're seeing with Skur Ritual right now. But honestly, it's just so fascinating as well with BO2 having that dichotomy between Zelensky's maps, like Transit, Die, Rise, and Buried, and then Blundell's maps. But I don't know. I still have such a reverence for this because I don't think we will ever see this in COD Zombies ever again.
The town is the final stop and gives the closest feeling of live activity on this entire map.
Yeah.
There's plenty of buildings, even some lights on in upstairs windows, giving the impression that maybe someone else is alive here too.
Oh, I hate that. And then it's like a zombie up there. And then you can also see like someone hanging themselves. Oh, man. Oh,
But with a
man.
place this large, seeing it so devoid of actual people makes it feel empty.
It makes you feel like you're a
One of the most
ghost.
notable parts of the town
know?
is the dilapidated church at the end of
Yes.
the street.
This might be the most popular part of Transit, and it's not even an official building inside the map. Like it is, but you can't access it, right?
Where you can hear its once holy bells ringing every now and then.
I wish you could have gone into this, though. That would have been so cool.
And if you were to venture into the fog and approach this once lively building,
Yeah.
a single barrier can be found on the side of the church. Perhaps
Man.
indicating that someone at one point tried to hold out here when everything came to an end.
That's really sad. And so, yeah, maybe that is the story. And see, like, even though they don't make it accessible, they still give you that, like, creative story behind it just through the barrier, right? Like, Treyarch was just different back then, man. Wow.
But much like the power station,
In the
beneath the bank,
bank.
there
Yeah.
lies the truth.
Treyarch saying something. You can't trust banks, so you can't trust the power systems. Okay, Treyarch, we're listening.
That some
We're
truly
listening.
nefarious things were being done at this place.
Yeah.
Seeing the long, sprawling underground facility with containers and streaks of blood littering the walls and floors.
And I love how it also looks like 5, right? Like it gives you that like 5 feeling. And it's like, that kind of makes sense. It's like 5 is like kind of a lot of those events also start propelled propelling the events in Black Ops 2, right? Like Ascension and 5 and all that. And it harkens back to Black Ops 1 in that way. Like, oh, perfect.
Going
Perfect.
deeper into this place, something evil was being done here.
Yeah.
Perhaps experimentation.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
the creatures that inhabit the fog came from this very place.
Yep.
Transit has,
this is
and
correct.
probably always will have, the best atmosphere and attention to small details like this of any map. Sure, others would come later that set out.
On disc maps always have it, right? Like Shadows of Evil has this too, where it's like every story in the map is telling you something different. And it's just like, you can find a story just by looking at a window barrier, man. Like, that's crazy.
For their own styles, but purely as a post-apocalyptic world destroyed by weapons of incredible strength and overrun by undead, along with terrifying unknown creatures, nothing even comes close.
Yep. Like, dude, the bowling alley was such a requested request by Zella for Town Reimagined that he opened it up. And it's not even an actual playable space in the original map. Like, that's how iconic this map was, bro. That's just insane. The unknown, baby. There's a lot of unknown and a lot of myths, too, that were fully fake. Hey, listen. I would have done the same thing if I was NGT Zombies, man. Looking for everything,
older
bro.
zombies from the World at War and especially BO1 era is player exploration.
Oh, hands down.
Had it not been for players looking into every little detail
Mr. Dalek JD.
around all of the maps, the Ascension Easter egg wouldn't have ever been found.
That's such a
Once the
true.
community
That's such a
finally
true
got their
point.
hands on Transit and got past the initial mechanics and honeymoon phase, it was time to find the Easter egg. Players knew that they were.
I also just want to say, like, a lot of people don't like buildables in zombies, but I think that buildables were one of the best additions to the core gameplay loop in COD Zombies, period. Like, they're phenomenal. Like, yeah, I don't like 3 parts being in 3 different areas all the time in most of the zombie maps later on, but buildables are just such a great idea, and I hope they never leave. They are phenomenal, and honestly, I think they're kind of distancing that in Cold War, and I hope we see that in Black Ops 6. Genuinely, more buildables like what we see in BO2.
There was something going on, with both Maxis and Richtofen giving certain instructions to do things.
Why ain't turn off the power?
It would become clear that there were 2 different versions of the Easter egg.
Right, and that was a huge thing. We have yet to have this since Black Ops 2. In BO3, we go back to 1 Easter egg, right? Like, and it's even worse in BO2, or in BO3 in a lot of ways, because like in Shadows, you need 4 people to do the whole egg, right? Whereas in Transit, like, yes, you can do it solo, but that wasn't figured out till way later, so.
Which was a really big first for zombies.
Yeah.
Players quickly discovered the separate quests, and once they were finally completed, nothing.
Yeah, it was so not it. I remember when people completed the Easter egg, they're like, bruh. And it's because they ran out of time. They were too ambitious. I think a lot of their development went into the side modes, like the rush mode that was going to happen, you know? And
sure, the achievement popped
the race
up, but
mode.
something was just off. It was like, that's it.
Yeah.
Had to be something more. That was
No, and that's what started 900 Myths, the Transit Horse, the jet gun upgrade, you know, like the meleeing the door, you know, like
just turning on
so
the power,
ridiculous.
breaking the jet gun at the tower, and placing down 2 turbines.
Yeah.
That can't be it. And here is where the community went on
is
one of
it.
the wildest hunts in the history of zombies.
Yep.
All of us. We were all
We were all coping so hard as a collective unity in society. I can't even imagine. Zelensky was probably laughing. I mean, listen, people were pissed, and that's potentially why he lost his job. But that must have been one of the best jokes ever. Like, just laughing at everybody, thinking that there would be more. Nope, that's it.
convinced that there had to be something more. There's no way, after all the complexity of Shang's and Moon's Easter eggs, that this was it. Players began scouring.
It makes me wonder what Transit would have been if they gave it another year, right? Like, let's say we got this map in 2013. What would it have been like, right? Makes you wonder.
The map for details. Anything. This map was so huge, had so many areas and little details everywhere that anything was seen as a potential lead. There was the nav card table, which no one really knew what it was for.
Yeah, at the beginning, we didn't realize that this was the means to the super Easter egg, and also the nav card tables weren't accepting the nav cards, and we all thought we had a bugged game of Black Ops 2, but nope, that's just BO2.
The buildable part from the power station that fit at the Pack-a-Punch, maybe that meant something.
Nope.
Street lights that illuminated once the tower was lit up.
Literally a glitch. All of these lighting effects that happened in the town were all glitches. Can you believe that?
Maybe they did something. The bus hatch could be equipped on the top of the diner. Maybe the ladder could be used, fixated somewhere else too.
Give it up. Bro, remember when we were looking at the Transit iceberg and Sedan was on the sign and this whole guy made it his, like, pseudonym, his secretive name, because he's like, man, I'm Treyarch. I know what they added in Transit. We were coping so hard. I don't think there's an example of that in any other game where the community is coping that hard about a map being just insufficient with content. It's crazy.
There was a blood splatter on the ground at the spawn.
Russ, man.
Stop Russ. Which Russ man was one of the main characters. What could that mean?
We were coping so hard, y'all. It's insane. It's
and the
insane.
biggest theory, Bus Route B.
Bus Route B. How could I forget?
Spawn, there was a board with a bus schedule, and B was on.
That would have been, I will say this, that would have been the most insane update to a zombies map ever. If they literally added in, literally just like one extra road into Transit where Bus Route B should have been, and they would have actually made it so you could purchase that door and then go to Nuketown, that would have been the best update to a zombies map ever. That's all they needed to do, and they didn't do it. It's insane how crazy this map could have been with just those tiny adjustments, right?
On it. When coming out of the tunnel, there was a clear division in the road leading off to the right, past the diner. Perhaps there was...
Imagine if that opened up and, like, they just added Nuketown at the end there.
Something or some way to get the bus to drive to a different location. All of this is what made Transit more iconic and analyzed than any other map to exist.
Oh, yeah.
Because after how much had happened in Moon.
Well, because it's like, everybody's like, okay, whatever, there's another robot outside of Origins. Like, nobody cared to the extent that Transit was, and it's just because people were coping so hard that Transit was just that much more insufficient comparatively to Moon, you know? And then Die Rise happened, and then people were starting to lose hope. That's what I'm saying. Like, Blundell really came through with Mob of the Dead, even just for me, you know? Because zombies would not be zombies without that man. Legit.
After all this hype, after seeing how big the map was, and how much clearly went into making it, we were all convinced that there had to be something more. That just a simple 3-step Easter egg couldn't be it. That this large open map...
Get got, sucker.
with so much nothing, could really have nothing on it.
But man.
There really was nothing.
There really was nothing. That was the ultimate thing all along. Myth busted.
Then it started to come apart.
The aftermath. I did not expect this. See, this is just like... This was just the community devolving. I am so glad I was not on, like, any online forums at this point in time. I couldn't even imagine just the hatred pouring out of human beings, bro. Oh my gosh.
When you really thought about it,
so funny.
There really isn't much here.
Yeah.
All this map. Yeah. All that real estate, and there's absolutely nothing going on with it.
Shout out the Xbox 360. And listen, I wish Zelensky got to make BO3 instead of BO2. Because I always say this man was thinking in 4D, okay? He was ahead of his time by like 10 years comparatively to what the hardware could handle at the time with the Xbox 360. If he actually cooked a game, let's say on PS4 or PS5, we'd be eating, fam. We'd be eating.
And come to think of it, there's not much new here either. You don't even have access to the new game's perk in solo, and there's not that many perks on this map at all. Yeah. Where's Mule Kick? Where's...
That's true. Yeah, I didn't even realize that.
Deadshot or PhD.
We don't even talk about this. PhD was treated so foully in BO2. The fact that it was only added into Grief, and then Origins, where the M1911 isn't even on the... Don't even talk to me.
Moon
Don't
had
even
every
talk to
perk
me.
released up to that point,
Yeah,
but this
don't even
map
talk
was
to me.
missing tons of them.
Yeah.
And this bus mechanic was starting to get a little tedious.
Yeah.
It's so dang slow, and you
Yes,
can't even
sir.
call it to the location you want.
You know they planned to have us refill the gas on the bus? That was literally found in the game files. Could you imagine how bad Transit would be if that was a thing? Nobody would play the map if that was a thing. We only like the map because Ted is there. That's it. Ted saved this map, bro.
And the teleporters are a mess. They
Oh,
are
yeah.
totally random. And you have to
Completely
use
garbo.
these denizens to even get them to work. And speaking of these denizens, they are annoying as hell. They're relentless and constantly attack you if you take even a step into the fog. You
Yes,
don't even
sir.
get points for killing them. And the Pack-a-Punch is nearly impossible to open. You have to drop a turbine, meaning you need to be carrying one if you wanted to.
I still can't believe this is just a thing in the map to use the turbine to power this random room. The most random room. I still don't even get why it's a thing. Like, they still don't even explain it, bro. Like, sheesh, man. No wonder people were playing town.
To get
you
the
know?
pack open and either run like the wind or take the bus
Run
or
like
get
the
lucky with
wind.
a teleporter to town. Even then,
My
it'll
gosh.
still probably not open the door.
I know, and that is the worst moment on this map. When you grab a fresh turbine, you run all the way to the power station, you drop your turbine, then you decide to run all the way back to the town. You go up to the bank, and you see that lightning symbol. There is no level of I just wasted 20 minutes of my life that I am never getting back like that. You know,
If you do get
it's
in, you
just
still have to
terrible.
build the Pack-a-Punch.
Yeah.
And speaking of buildables, half of them are complete trash.
I know,
Turbine
dude.
to even operate half of them, and they either do diddly.
I agree. The electric trap, the sentry turret, the turbine should not have been involved, right? Like, this map was a co-op map at heart, but even then, those buildables need a massive buff. And, like, I'm remastering Transit, and we want to bring those buildables back, but we're going to actually make them good.
Squat or kill you if you try to use them.
Yeah.
And whose idea was it to put a piece of equipment in the box where you could get rid of your teammates' box hits or
They were trolling. Like, there's no two ways about it, dog. It was 2012. The troll phase just came out, bro.
shut off their perks? Or hell, did they allow you to
Oh
shut off
my
the
gosh.
power to the whole map?
They were trolling, dog. There's no other explanation. Like, Treyarch must have been howling when they released this game. They're like, bro, this game's gonna sell, and we dog this game, bro.
What were the devs thinking? Were they huffing paint thinner? Once the
Legit.
excitement
Oh, I get that reference. I get that reference. Shout my boy, the Smith plays.
wore off and we started to see all these little annoyances, we really realized that the whole map was a meme. Like
Yeah.
one big joke on us,
Yeah.
the players.
Exactly.
Some kind of social
Yeah.
experiment to see how
It really was a social experiment. Like, we went through all of the stages of depression, hatred, grief. All on Transit. Like, and I get it. That's why a lot of people dropped off from this point. But still, looking back, it's hilarious,
many
man.
irritating, annoying things they could put into one map. And if the map was a joke, then the jet gun would be the punchline.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If I were to tell you that there was a
Absolutely.
wonder weapon that collected damage, made drops, didn't take up a weapon slot, and you didn't even need to hit the box to get it, you'd
Yeah.
probably say,
That's
sign
insane.
me up. Where can I
Yeah.
get my hands on this? I don't know what they were thinking.
It's a Galva Knuckle upgrade. I keep saying it. The fact that a glitch is the only reason that this is actually one of the better wonder weapons in BO2. Whew. Like, thank God for glitches. You know what I'm saying?
Pack-a-Punch upgrade really supposed to make this more usable?
Remember when we thought that this was going to be the Thunder Gun 2.0?
Like, you can't even
man.
see the ammo.
Yep.
You can't sprint with it.
That's
it
true.
has a long windup and pulls you into the zombies, and best of all, it can break! And
Yep.
with all this lava, if it does break and one of the parts flies into it, screw you. Go
It makes me wonder how they play tested this wonder weapon. Like, genuinely, how did they play test the wonder weapon? They must have had it with different settings on, like infinite ammo or something, so that it would never break. But then, like, they just put it in game and it was not
Go
it.
back to where you first found it and get it again.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
good luck, because you can't carry more than one part at a time.
Yeah.
What were they thinking?
I agree.
Who made this? And why? Transit became one of the
Yeah,
most hated
true.
maps ever so quickly after its launch.
Yeah.
Everyone was running around like chickens with their heads cut off, playing this map.
Oh,
the
yeah.
map looked like a wasteland, and it certainly played like it.
And see, this is the funniest thing, right? As much as we realize this map is a joke, as much as we hate this map, I guarantee you most of us have multiple hours on this map. Like, I probably have over 200 hours just on Transit alone. And that's probably not even including the times I've tried to get around 100 on this map. Like, that's the craziest part to me, you know?
You'd be running through the fog like a buffoon, trying not to get lost or killed by these face gremlins, or hope that you didn't miss that jump at the power and fall to your instant lava flow.
Classic. Yeah. Oh, see, this is where it's gonna get me sad now, man. This is where you got me sad, CJ. This is ridiculous, man. Oh, dude. See, this is where I get sad, man. Because this, honestly, I would say Transit marked the death of true OG zombies. Like, that feeling that I got from World at War to BO1, I don't think has still ever been replicated outside of, like, Zombie Chronicles. You know, that was the closest that I got to that feeling. But, man. Yeah, Transit changed everything.
How is it, though? After all of this, after all these years, you have so many people remembering Transit so fondly.
It's true. Co-op experience, I'm telling you.
Have so many people still talk about it to this day.
Yeah.
Who ask for an official remaster.
Yes, literally. Look who's there. Look who's there.
You have the mention of it, or when it's referenced.
Yeah.
It's as if it has a legacy, separate from the reality of what it was.
Like, I think this is one of those examples of it was so bad that it was good. You know, like, that's why people love Transit, right?
Just a big bad map that the majority hated. But therein lies the real reason why Transit is one of the most iconic maps in all of COD Zombies. Because it was
Oh my gosh,
played by the
C-Nanners.
majority.
Bro, you just hit me with, like, a nostalgia flashbang grenade, bro. I just went, oh my gosh. Sent me right back to 2012 right there.
The biggest majority there was. Black Ops 2 was the last COD of the golden era, regarded as one of the best CODs of all time and one of the highest selling.
And it's still one of the best. It's the reason they're making a sequel or potential remaster of this game in 2025 when the game was actually took place in. You know? Like, this game was iconic, man.
With the most fondly remembered multiplayer and replayable campaign.
Yeah.
And yet, it's Transit that everyone remembers.
On this map, it's the reason why people remember Shadows. The reason why people love Keynote or Totem Black Ops 1, baby. I'm telling you.
Because it was the launch map
Yep.
of the biggest game in COD history.
Yes, sir.
And if you were there for it, you played Transit. It didn't matter if it was a really bad map or not.
Yep.
Because it was Black Ops 2's map. The one plastered all over the box art. The one whose
True.
iconography was shown off in the game's menus. Whose music is ingrained in our brains for the rest of our lives.
And I think that's the reason why this game still excelled. And I think also Town, I will say Town definitely has a role in the reason why people still love Transit. Because Town is Transit simplified, right? I think if that didn't exist, Transit would not have the same reverence as it does now, you know?
Transit represents when the devs tried to push boundaries.
Yeah.
When they tried to innovate so much on the most outdated hardware at the time. Where the limitations of the engine showed through more than the innovations. But what Transit did was give us all memories with randoms and our friends that we will never forget.
I say this again. It might not be the best Easter egg. It might not be the best high round map, right? But you can't deny it is one of the most fun co-op maps to ever be built. And I think the perfection of Transit in terms of its co-op in nature is actually perfected and Buried, right? Because Transit is a sandbox at its core, but Buried takes that sandbox and actually gives you a better playable space with more mechanics, obviously with Leroy. And that to me is why it's just so interesting. Like Transit to Die, Rise, and Buried, you can see a massive progression. But then it's just like Blundell just took the show. Right? Like, this guy just dropped 2 bangers, Mob Dead and Origins, and everybody's like, see you later. Like, you know, who cares about Transit now? You know?
So no matter how lame or convoluted the map's layout was, or how ridiculous all the aspects of it were, It's a part of our childhoods.
It really
Or
is.
teenage years.
It is.
Our last COD before we went to college.
And I have to say, I'm glad it is, because no experience that I've seen from Call of Duty Zombies has ever emulated the launch of what BO2 was able to accomplish. And that's a huge deal.
Before everything about Call of Duty went downhill.
That's true.
It was a part of the game
True.
that year after year, when the newest game disappointed us, we came back to.
Yes, sir.
Transit was the map where those who couldn't afford the latest game or any DLC packs played. Long after we knew that there was nothing more to this map itself, is when we realized that what we were searching for was just the memorable experience we were having just being there.
Spitting. What a line that is. What a line. Because that is absolutely the case. That magic is what we're looking for. Some people found it with Blundell. Some people never found it ever again after this game. Right? And that, I think, is where Zombies is so fascinating. Because to me, this mode has always been a mode about the potential of what it could be. And look at what the Custom Workshop is putting out. You have like a Bloons Tower Defense map, next to like a BioShock map, next to a Resident Evil map. Like, this mode is so multifaceted. It is literally insane. And some people even say it started its whole own video game genre. Like, that is how iconic this original series used to be.
Playing
you
this
know?
giant open
Just
world
unreal.
with so much personality,
Yeah.
searching for something we didn't even know existed or not.
Yeah.
But we wanted to believe. And so we will always remember it.
We will always remember.
Transit will always be the map that I remember changing my life.
Yeah.
When the third DLC for Advanced Warfare released, and I was so utterly disappointed with it, I returned.
It still boggles to my mind that Exos came out before Black Ops 2. I always have to like remember that. It's just like, oh my gosh, like really? Like BO2 happened after this? Like what?
to good old Transit again to take a trip down memory lane.
Yeah.
And that's where I met my best friend, Henry. He too had been so disillusioned by Ghost's awful launch that he didn't even buy the DLCs for it or even Advanced Warfare at all. He
Yeah.
just continued playing BO2. Had it
I'm going to say Exo Zombies wasn't it. I just realized I made a mistake because Exos came out in 2014 and this game came out in 2012. But I still get your point. Like, yeah, I played BO2 literally until BO3 came out. And then look at me now, still on BO3. We're waiting. But you know what? Like, I think it's just better to take what was amazing about this game and recreate it elsewhere. That's something that, man, if I can even get just a 1% of the magic that was brought back to me by watching this video in my own product, that's a job well done to me, baby.
not
I
been
don't know.
for Transit and me coming back to play it that day,
Yeah.
I would have never met my best friend for
Dang.
the past 9 years.
Let's go,
It may be a
CJ.
silly roundabout way of looking at it. but
Nah.
I'll always remember that about
Don't ever say that. Don't ever say that because Garad Crovy's number one for me in a lot of ways. Sure, the map is amazing. Sure, the Easter egg, whatever, story, right. But that was Z House 1 times, man. And just the level of amazing things that I could have done with all the boys and how we were able to just change so many people's perception about zombies at that time. What could be better? What could be better, man? Don't ever apologize about your own opinions, man.
Transit for letting me meet.
I'm
my
watching you.
So many players from the golden era had BO2.
Yeah.
So many played Transit in its prime, and it stuck with us, for better or worse.
Yes.
Whatever the reason, it's more about what Transit did rather than what it is.
Exactly.
All these
What a line. It's a love-hate relationship, right? But that is the line right there. It doesn't matter how the map is. It's what it was at the time and what it still is. People are still feeling nostalgia about this almost 12 years later, man. That's art. That's art
things
right
about
there.
it, all the cut content, all that potential that so many of us see in it.
Yeah.
We all want it to be great. We all want it to be remastered because deep down, we want those memories of a better time to come back to us.
True.
That's why this big, foggy wasteland will never be forgotten. That's why we love Transit.
CJ, I get why you sang the love letter to Transit now. This is an amazing video. Shout out CJ. Definitely go check out this video. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you again so much. Check out CJ and I'll see y'all in that next one, baby.